Welcome back to another video from skiboatpartsonline.com. I'm your host Ron, and this is part 3, the teardown. Yes, we found very rotten wood. This is part of the rear seat base. The rear seat base frame was equally as rotten. All these parts are going to go to their local landfill. Yes, that is a pair of bolt cutters on top of the motor box. Whoever did this last interior decided to use nylock nuts to hold it in there. Nylock nuts and rotting wood is not a good combination. They're back there. You have to find them and run them off, otherwise good luck. The driver's seat base was just about as equally rotten. The seat tracks will be replaced. Here I am trying to get the motor disconnected, getting ready to pull it out. Did find exhaust tubes that were repaired at one time and burnt. These mufflers are going to need to go to the trash, it looks like. We're not dragging anything I forgot. Good. Someday I'll be able to get me an electric boat. This keeps me young.
Yeah.
Alright, dragging anything. Cable, it doesn't count. Love it when an oil drain kit is laying in the bottom of the boat and not tied up where it belonged. This is what 30 years of grime looks like after pressure washing this poor little boat. And that's the first layer of grime off the bilge. For those with advanced models, if you recognize the 3-inch PVC pipe that was in the bottom of this boat, we broke it out. It's going to be replaced with the 2000 model blower system, where the blower is mounted in the back of the boat. Earlier you saw me cutting some of these hoses to remove that motor, and me wondering, well, why isn't he reusing the hoses? Well, these are 30 years old. It's a 30-year-old boat. This is the water intake hose that I had cut. You saw me cut this. It only took a couple minutes to cut it. The inside, this is actually clamped over pipe thread, and after 30 years it does not want to release. And so, just to prove a point, I spent about 15 minutes cutting this piece of hose off, cutting each one of the wires and using a knife. It's just a son of a gun to pull these off. So that's the justification for cutting these hoses and replacing them with new ones. It's cheaper to replace the hose than to pay for my labor to try to salvage them. Alright guys, welcome back. This is the end of the first week on the American Skier Deco restoration. We've got a table full of parts and pieces that we pulled out of the boat that I want to go over in just a minute with you. Just a real quick assessment, what we're looking at, what obviously needs to be replaced, and and what we can still salvage. So we're going to take a quick look here. Alright, first thing we'll look at is the propeller. Propeller has some obvious bad cavitation burns on each blade. This blade here is the worst. In fact, these burns are actually kind of coming through the other side, which I've never seen before. But this prop, I wouldn't rerun it on my boat, so he's going to need to go. The rudder blade is fine, but the rudder post has some pretty good wear to it. So we're going to have to take a real close look at that to see if this is reusable or not. The swim platform brackets are stainless. They're in good shape. They're very reusable. We'll just clean those up. The prop shaft, we haven't put it on the bench to dial indicate it yet, but I do know that there's normal wear for 30 years by the strut bushings, but on the other end where the stuffing box rides, there is very discernible wear. It's considerable wear on this shaft. So if we go with any more horsepower at all with this boat, this shaft is going to need to be replaced. It probably needs to be replaced regardless. The exhaust tips are stainless steel. They just need to be cleaned up. They can be reused. They're in good shape. Same thing with the rear ski tow eye. The rear stern light or all-around light socket is badly corroded inside, so this needs to be replaced. Our steering clamp block is in really bad shape. It's very worn. It should rotate back and forth, but not like this. It is very worn, so this has to be replaced. Another thing that was interesting was the fuel fill. Notice the fuel fill, the threads and the cap, they're shot. The cap won't thread on or off. It just kind of pushes into place and it's there. So that's not in very good shape. Rubber parts like the exhaust flappers, they're old and very brittle, so they need to be replaced. The throttle control, we'll move a little bit here, appears to be in good shape and reusable. Interestingly, the throttle pivots or the little brass barrels that go into the steel arms, normally when I take these apart, they're quite worn. This one obviously had been replaced because they actually came out in good condition. Fuel filter, we took the filter out and threw it away, but this is the housing for it. Good bit of corrosion there on the back side. We'll try to clean this up, and if we can reuse it, we will. If not, this is going to need to be replaced. Of course, the bilge blower, we'll fire it up to see if it runs. We do know that the bearing is not seized up, but we'll have to look at that. Throttle and shift cable, they're going to need to be replaced. The seawater strainer, I believe, is good. It'll clean up, but we'll inspect it. It does have some cracks in the bowl, so we may have to replace just the bowl. There are some cracks right in this area. Ski pylon, of course, I don't know if you can hurt one of these. It's in good shape, but I do want to point something out. On the American Skier pylon, there's two U-bolts that hold it in. One points aft, one points forward, but there are also two safety bolts that thread in below the top plate, but above this top U-bolt. They're just there as a safety bolt, and they thread in. On this pylon, one came out and is good. The other one is rusted off and gone. So we'll need to address that. This is the bow vent plate. Obviously it is broken. A chunk of it is missing. So we're going to have to be creative and try to fabricate a replacement for this. The stainless steel grab rails all look good. They all look reusable. This is part of the rub rail insert. The rub rail on this boat was not the original one. So we may end up putting the original style back on. But that's a quick look at some of the parts and pieces that we took out of the boat. Next I'll show you a picture of the boat as she sits after everything's been removed, as we get ready to fabricate the new style upholstery. Well, this is the end of week number 1 for our deco project. The interior has been removed. The windshield has been removed. The engine is out. Cables are out. All the hardware in the transom is out, and it has been pressure washed for the first time The plywood that you see on the side, it's actually a template for our new interior kit. That you'll watch us size that and start fabricating it next week. Here we're masking and sizing some of the remaining decals that need to be recreated. We've got a specialist coming in on Monday who is going to try to recreate these graphics for us. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like what you're seeing, please subscribe to skiboatpartsonline.com. Next week we'll get a little further into the interior of the boat, the new interior. So thank you, and God bless, and hope you enjoyed. Thank you.